Well, the world has sure gone nutty, buddy, even downright cruddy, buddy. Wish I missed the past, buddy, but there's still Buddycast. No, don't be naughty, go meet buddy, here on Buddycast.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder and host of Buddycast, Nick Sorensen.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to everybody's favorite show, Buddycast. I'm your host, Nick Sorensen. Thank you for joining us on another wonderful episode. I'm actually really excited about this episode. We have a local band, a very well-known band. You might have seen them around. You might have heard them in a commercial or two. You never know. But we have Dual Identity. How are you guys doing today?
Oh, doing great. Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely. Let's go. Now, we know our buddy Jamie here. Jamie's been about, 10 Buddycasts so far, probably, or something, you know?
I've been on, this is my third.
Okay, so three. So I'm not that far behind. But for the other band members, let's have an introduction.
Colin, Matt's nephew. I play bass in Dual Identity. Been in the group for about a year or so, right? Just about, you know. So, yeah.
Nice.
I'm Matt, Colin's uncle. For 25 years, I've been his uncle. Yeah. And one of the founding members of Dual Identity from 1991, I think. So, and playing with Jamie, and we restarted the acoustic band a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
During COVID, actually.
During COVID, yeah. We kept 6 feet distance.
Yeah.
Yep. So, Matt, how did Dual Identity begin? Tell us the history.
I was in the military and I got out, and Chris Hansen, well-known musician in Erie, classically trained, played with Sable and done a lot of really cool things. And it was kind of like the heels of that. He was kind of tired of the big band scene. Kind of the acoustic acts were kind of getting a little bit kind of cool to do at that time. So then him and I started, and we had many different third members. It was kind of crazy how many different third members we had. But from there it started. So
nice. Tell us about some of those third members. How it led up to today.
One Eric Christensen was one of our first, and he was with us for a year or two, a long time. He was in Exit with just great musicians like Pat Monahan and Dow,
Kevin
Halperg. So he played with us for quite a long time. And then even Trevor Huster, who helped write Drops of Jupiter, Chris and I played with him just so briefly. But we also had, who else do we have? Mike Lutz, Greg's played with us. Oh my gosh, I can't remember half the guys.
Mike Russell.
Drums.
Yeah,
of course, Mike Russell played. Bill, that's right. And then on Dual Identity's album, Chris Rodler,
Mark Schulich.
Mark Schulich, Steve Barone, who does the drums for Eric Brewer. Yeah. So just a whole bunch of awesome guys. So
Dual Identity is kind of like 9 Inch Nails. Trent Reznor is 9 Inch Nails. Matt is Dual Identity.
Nice.
That makes sense.
Which at the time the name wasn't to be like, this is this persona, but somehow it ended up working this far out. So
I got to ask how you came up with the name Dual Identity.
Chris, actually, we were kicking up some different names, and Chris liked the concept of dual, like two guys, a gun duel, and dual as in two. So it kind of, between the duality of dual, he kind of liked that, and that he was going to school for physics, and then I was starting college and going to medical school. So Chris kind of liked that whole play on the words, and somehow with identity and then the dual, So mostly probably him, I think, and then we kind of hammered out different things. So
nice. So go around the room. Tell us about your first gig with the band.
See?
Yeah.
Well, a year ago at the Fireman's Tavern in was it Youngstown, PA?
Oh, that was
Yeah, I was like a year
no
ago.
Jamestown.
Jamestown, I think
Jamestown,
it was, whatever,
Jamestown.
wherever it was. But yeah, that was my first gig, kind of like a dive bar type place. This was a fun gig, but I didn't quite know what to expect because I used to play bass in a group called Paper Matches, a local group, and yeah, it's kind of a garage rock band. So went from that to like an acoustic covers band. It's kind of interesting, but you get a lot more variety in this band. So it's like when I keep calling Uncle Mac, he's my uncle. It's the only thing I know him by. So it's kind of weird to call him just Matt. So he gave me a call and it's like, hey, you want to play bass with us? I'm like, sure, absolutely. I haven't done it in like some time. But then that first gig was the Fireman's Tavern. That was a pretty fun experience. Kind of a learning curve, but it was a pretty fun experience.
Yeah, we had to play behind some chicken wire.
Yeah.
So, and then bottles got thrown. And so,
Yeah, my first gig was in 2014 with the full band doing the Stand album because it was an album release party and a bunch of the older stuff. And so, yeah, that was super cool.
Scott Prescott.
Yeah,
Sandbar.
Yeah. I was a fan of the band, actually. I knew Chris Hansen. I played in the band with him, but yet Matt and I, our paths never crossed. It's really weird.
Nice.
My first gig, I guess, probably 1992, and I think we have videos out there with long hair doing Ice Cream Man or Turn the Page, still doing Turn the Page. Choo Choo's, I think it was Choo Choo's, if you remember the old El Patio that now a Sheets is at, but on 8th and Peninsula.
That location.
Yeah.
Nice. So you all play guitar. What sparked your interest in guitar playing?
Ooh, actually, it happened in 7th or 8th grade. And so I'm going way back. And to be honest with you, here's 12 adolescent boys. And back then they had bands at school dances. And there was this band called The Frenchmen. And all of us, all the girls liked the band. We're like, guys, we got to get a band together. That's kind of what started it.
I like
we didn't
that.
know so much money was going to be made from it. But no.
Or how much money was going to be spent from it either.
Yeah.
So what about you other guys? What about you, Jamie? What about you, Colin?
Go ahead, Colin.
I always was interested in music. Like I grew up listening to not so much current music, but like Elton John, Jethro Tull, David Bowie, the Rolling Stones. So I grew up on that stuff. Not so much like the top 40 stuff that was around when I was growing up, like Britney Spears and stuff like that. Never really got into that, but over time, people started to get into instruments at like elementary school, and people always used to say like, do you play an instrument or whatever? And a lot of people play guitar, some played drums, but nobody played bass. And I love the Who, so I started listening to like more Who albums to listen for bass, and I was like, bass is really awesome, So I think My Generation by the Who was like the first thing that drew me to the bass. And of course, I know like guitar and keyboards a little bit, but I actually got lessons on bass. So bass is always my main instrument. So
Nice.
Yeah, for me growing up, I've always wanted to be a drummer. And up until 1979, when I saw my first Kiss concert and I saw Paul Stanley dancing around the stage and the girls screaming for him. And I said, I want to do that. And that's how I became a guitar player. And,
Nice.
then I'm playing drums for the Oneaters or whatever. And so I'm kind of full circle.
So tell us about some of your favorite songs to play. It can be all around the room too. It doesn't have to be like a collective, like we all like playing this,
Well, I dig if the crowd gets into it. Unfortunately, I'm not the true musician that could sit in my room for hours doing these beautiful pieces. No, I'm a hack. I just like to be out there. If everybody's digging it, I can totally get into it. What song do I really dig? It depends on my mood. I'm such a moody guy.
Yeah.
I love R&B personally, and I used to like to squeeze Natural Woman because I love Aretha Franklin. She's like my idol, and but it didn't go over very well, so we kind of dropped that one.
Yeah, as an acoustic act, we're doing all kinds of stuff that maybe shouldn't be done on an acoustic guitar, like Lady Gaga. And
Lady Gaga, but then we do Paul McCartney, Band on the Run, and Stuck in the Middle, and then we do
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
The actual key too, which is
Yeah. Oh, you got to come and hear us play that.
Like
one.
you just I like to if I renamed this, we'd be the ADHD band because we're song we'll do Blondie, Call Me, and then we'll go from that to like Train, Calling All Angels or something. So or Foo Fighters, you know.
So you're like all over the place. It's not just like one set, like, oh yeah, like 70s rock or something.
Yeah.
Like it's literally like 1 minute I'm listening to Train, next minute I'm hearing Rocket Man.
And no show,
That's exactly it.
no show we play is the same because we have so many songs that, you know, it's different every time. And Matt just calls them up as he wants to play them and sing them. So
I was about to say, you just play by ear. Like you just literally could just be like, okay, 1 minute you're playing like Paul McCartney, and the next minute, hey, I'm feeling Elton John next or something like that. Like
Exactly it, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, you ever see Mythical Morning? Good morning. Good mythical morning.
Mm-mm.
Oh, these guys are hilarious. But anyway, they have these segments called "Does It Taco?" and they'll put like squid and those, so they'll see if it tacos. And I've always thought, "Does it acoustic?" So we'll take some song that should not be done acoustically, and we're like, "Yeah, that works." And other times, we're like, "No, that
Like Share Believe.
we do share, believe," and it's crazy because the waitresses are singing, everybody digs it, but it's so weird to see us do share. So,
and Brittany.
Brittany,
That is true.
well, NSYNC goes over really well.
Oh yeah, in sync for sure.
He's getting the wrong idea of us.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I'm like, now what genre are we in now? Or what area are we going to now? So,
He only likes to do Brittany because he has the leather onesie, the full red leather onesie. So
Takes a while to get in it, but
you fill it up nicely.
more ammo for my neighbor. That's all I can say. Oh. But tell us about some of your albums. I hear you have some albums out.
Yeah, the first one we did was in the basement, and it took us, I think, 2 weeks to figure out how to record. And that was called Lust to Dust. Because actually, Chris's girlfriend came up with the album name because the songs have put in a certain order, follow the relationship from meeting to all the way ending in dark. And there's a really dark song in there,
Yeah.
but so that was Lust to Dust. And then the second one was Get Up. And that's kind of when we started developing a little bit more and did a really progressive Get Up itself. It's a 3-chord song, but Chris Rodler did these drums and bass and real progressive and just made it into a great song. And the couple songs off that album did really well for us. And then we did a remake album, which Elton John's producer, Stewart, remixed everything. And he picked 7 songs I really liked. He's like, yeah, let me remix these. And had John Martyr play on it from Voyager. He's toured with Peter Gabriel and The Who, Roger Daltrey. And then we did Stand was the last album we did. We went to England and recorded it in what used to be a bomb shelter. It was a really cool studio. The mixing board was from Yes, and the reel-to-reel was from Bad Company. It was so cool. But then we did Stand. So kind of always developing. And if you write songs, I'm never happy. I'm happy when I write for that second. And then I'm like, this stinks. New song. So,
It's a hit. It's garbage.
yes, that's it.
Oh, so Matt, I gotta ask, what it was like working with the Elton John producer? Jamie knows me as a big Elton John fan, so
It was like, it was almost going to like Fantasy Island. It was so surreal and such a cool guy. And he's talking about all these people that I idolized. I grew up like, oh my gosh. And he talks like, that's just them. And he was impressed that I'm a physician. So he showed me his labs and his blood work. He's like, so what do you think of this? I'm like, and he's like, we're both telling each other we're intimidated by each other. I'm like, everybody's a doctor. I said, but you hang out with all these great guys, So we were working on harmonies together. We were at the bed and breakfast. Like he was on the one bed singing and I'm on the other. We're doing the harmonies. It was just, oh my gosh, it was awesome. Yeah.
Now you gotta tell me the story of how you guys met.
Oh, that was crazy. I can get bold sometimes and I'm like, let me just try, So I reach out to some people and he actually bid. It was on a Friday. I remember this, and he's like, just send me your stuff in Dropbox. I'll check it out. I'll get back to you next week. He got back to me that day. He's like, there's these songs I really dig. I would really like to work with these. I'm like, oh, wow, really cool. And then he called, and I had him on like speakerphone, and my wife is there, and she even said hi, and she was kind of even starstruck talking to this guy, Super, super nice. but yeah, that's how I kind of got hooked up. And then like, hey, why don't you come over and do an album? We're keeping it open to record at Abbey Road Studios. So
Ooh.
the engineer, Sean, awesome guy, him and Stuart, actually, we're talking about doing a little project there. So
Wonderful. Wonderful. Is there any more albums on the horizon or anything like that? Or you just happy with just the local gigs?
Recording's fun. I was never really a good songwriter. That wasn't my trip for a long time. And then it was a couple different people are like, I'm really kind of burned out playing out. Why don't we try to write some songs? So I do kind of dig it. I could feel like what you put into a song,
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of dig that whole vibe. And I think I'd like to do 3 or 4 songs rather than a whole album. That way, if I don't like the overall vibe of it, I can change and, rather than be stuck with 10, 12 songs. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
You can stream the Dual Identity music on Spotify and all that stuff. So great stuff.
Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of today. It's no longer just sitting in the basement with all that, wiring and everything, making sure everything's good. You could literally just from the tap of your phone, doop, here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
So now about upcoming gigs. Do you guys have a schedule coming up?
busy week this week.
Yeah.
Friday, we're at Bemis Point, Ellicottville Brewery. Saturday, Jamie's playing with the Oneaters on Saturday, but Colin and I will be at the Oasis Tiki Bar. Then the band is back together on Sunday at the McCain Tavern, a nice 3 to 6 afternoon. Really cool place to play with really good bar food. So.
Yeah.
Nice. And where can we learn more about the band? Do you guys have a website? Do you guys have like social media?
Facebook, pretty much.
Yeah. Dualidentitymusic.com. And that's where you'll find a lot of the albums and information there. But there's a Facebook page too. That's we'll have to do something for maybe just the side thing for the acoustic act separate or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
some branch.
Yeah.
Oh, and we won a Telly Award
Oh yeah. Yeah.
2 years in a row.
Nice.
You ever hear of Telly Awards? They're like Grammy or Oscars, but for cheesy commercials. It's a real national, international award. So we won for actually NAMI when we wrote for National Alliance of Mental Illness. Their 2 commercials. So 2 years in a row we won one of those statue things.
Nice. So, buddies, I got 2 more questions for you. This one is brought to us by my buddy Jonas Kane at #Positivity, and I want each of you to answer this. What does it mean to be someone's buddy, or even in your guys' terms, bandmates? How much do you mean to each other?
I guess I could start. I guess like-minded people just get together. Even people who don't agree on the same things, just like a common courtesy between people can make a good buddy and good bandmates. And just being tolerant of different opinions, and agreeing on certain things, and just being a good hang. That's pretty much it. Just being a good hang, good atmosphere, pretty much it.
Yeah. And I would think to be a good buddy or a good bandmate is to be patient. I think that's key with any relationship, really. But working with, these guys are so talented. They say surround yourself with talented people, you'll do well. That's what I did.
I agree with both of them. I'm at that stage. I want to be with people I enjoy being around, and I would hang out with both of them. In fact, Jamie and I feel he's become a very good friend of mine, and it's very comfortable to play when you like someone, because then you're really you, and all the good and all the bad. And he's right. There's times we can disagree or so forth, but it doesn't mean we hate each other. That's it. No, that's okay. We just disagree on this song or something.
Yeah. You have your views, they have their views. You express your opinion, you move on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I lied. I've got to ask this question. It just came to my mind. Do you have any funny band stories? Audience appropriate, of course.
I do when Chris and I played out. we were at the Bottom Line in Conneaut. I'm not even sure it's even there anymore. Oh, it's a pretty much a dive bar. And the band plays between the bathrooms. and it was a hot July day, and I'll just kind of leave it there, and not a lot of ventilation. And yeah, for us,
I mean, that
we had the
Jamestown gig, it was raining so hard, like the window burst.
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
the window. I forgot about
Yeah, the
that.
window broke.
And the wind that rains.
Yeah, we
started
thought we were
coming in.
going to get hit by a tornado or something. It
Yeah.
was
Ooh, I got to hear this story.
Gig too.
We had that Gremlin gig up in New York where
Yeah,
where the
just-
monitors stopped working,
Yeah.
the PH kind of messed up, like everything that could go wrong was going wrong that night. It's just like at first you're like, and then you're like, it's just one of those nights. We won't play
Just
there
gotta
again. They never asked us back, but no.
Oh. All right, buddies. I got one more question for you tonight, which is what we call the ultimate Buddycast buddy question. For anyone who wants to start a band like you guys, who wants to be involved in a project like you guys are currently doing, what's your advice to them?
I say do it. But it is a relationship, as we were talking about. What's it like to be a buddy? It's like being on a team. It's like it's such a team effort. It's never just one person. Everybody works together, and it's definitely worth doing. But it depends on what your mindset is. Are you going to be a rock star? Are you going, play some good music with some good friends? Play out, But it's definitely worth it. I mean, it's a good experience.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And start young. That's the best thing to do. Even if you're going to do a full rock band or even just an acoustic act, get with some people that you may know and, get along real well with. I think that's key.
Yeah. I agree.
The coolest thing I've always said about playing in a band back in my day, we were like the only band, and we were horrible. We were really terrible, but we didn't quite fit in. So but we were cool with everyone, like freaks, geeks, stoners, like the nerds, everybody. And I thought playing a band was the coolest thing because we're friends with everybody. It's like it didn't matter. We didn't fit in with any one group, but everybody was cool with us just for being the guys in the band. I thought, what a cool gig. We just dig everyone. So
Nice. Colin, what's your advice?
Pretty much the same thing. Just like if you know people who have like minds to you, that like the same things, generally they would be a good hang for a band, But I'm still trying to find my own band too, like amongst everything. But I've been blessed by playing with some really good people. But just like if any advice, if you got people who like the same things that you do, then there you go, give it a try. All you can do is try. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But just try it. You can't do anything without trying. So
Exactly. It's just like a gig night. You never know until you're going to try. You never know. Is this going to be a hit song or is this going to be just another thing that you play once and that was the last time you ever played that song?
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty, buddies. Well, thank you so much for stopping on Buddycast, for taking the time to chat with us. Thank you so much for being buddies on Buddycast. You're not a guest. You're all buddies on this show.
Thank you.
thank you so much for having us
Appreciate
on.
it. Thank
Appreciate
you so
it.
much.
Thank
And
you.
Jamie's heard this request about 1,000 times and he still lives up to it. But I'm going to ask you guys, whatever you do today, tomorrow, next week, next month, even next year, please promise me you're going to go out and you're going to go be someone's buddy.
Absolutely promise.
Alrighty. For all my buddies out there, this is my buddy Jamie, my new buddy Matt, my new buddy Colin from Dual Identity. Please, if they're ever in your area, check them out. You won't regret it. I'm your host, Nick Sorensen. Thank you for joining of everybody's favorite show.
Well, the days are going fast, buddy, we've got to make them last, buddy, before they've all gone past, buddy, tune in to Buddycast. But don't be nutty, go make it, buddy, here on Buddycast.